Hi, this is Trevor Jackson, publisher and co-founder of Jobs That Pay Over 100K. And in this two-part video series, we're providing you an overview of Chapter 10 of our book, Job Search Warfare. And that whole process and methodology really helps people seeking jobs that pay over 100K in today's market to get interviews and ultimately to get job offers, which is really what it's all about. So in this video series, we're going to cover what it takes to prepare yourself correctly so that you can get an interview and ultimately get an offer. The first interview is really a high stakes battle that you've got to contend with, and the first thing you need to understand is that you've got to pass the minimum level of acceptability of what a job description looks like. It doesn't mean that you need to be minimally qualified. In fact, it's quite the contrary. You just need to make sure that of all the components in a job description, you can at least meet all of them in some way, shape, or form. Usually there's 2, 3, maybe 4 must-have requirements. You need to own those and demonstrate that you can do those and perform those in spades. The way that we do this is through a concept we cover in the book Job Search Warfare called positioning statements, which in essence are 1 or 2 line elevator pitches about specific skills that you have, and you want to map those back to a specific job description to show how you can solve an employer's problem. We'll cover kind of your primary goal in the interview process in a minute, and then we're also going to talk through all 7 of the interview steps to prepare correctly, and we're actually going to cover the first 3 in this video. But here's really the takeaway. Lack of preparation kills your opportunity to get an offer. You're going to lose it if you're not prepared. It's amazing how many people are not prepared and they end up making mistakes and lose that opportunity, and you don't want to do that, especially if you followed the methodology in Job Search Warfare as well as in Jobs That Pay 100K. You really want to take advantage of that opportunity, so don't blow it by not preparing. So your mission is to not do what most people do. Most people don't prepare correctly. You want to stand out, and the way to do that is ensuring that you don't hurt yourself by not being prepared and then not having an answer or providing a wrong answer or an answer that maybe wasn't well thought out, and then you end up saying something that you wish you hadn't have said. And I've seen it happen. It's happened to me personally, where you've actually said something that maybe you just thought was a fleeting comment or it wasn't well thought through, and at the end of the day it was a mistake. So don't do that. Don't guess at what an employer will ask. You want to try and prepare yourself as best as you can to know what they'll ask in advance. And your whole goal, your primary goal and mission is to get to the next interview. You've gotten to the table, especially if you followed the Job Search Warfare methodology, and your mission is to stay at the table and get to the through the interview process. So this is the 7 steps for interview preparation, and we're going to cover the first 3 in this video. So let's go to number 1. So the first thing you really need to do, most people don't do this oddly enough, is they don't do a deep dive on the company because they don't really spend the time to understand exactly what a company does. Even if you're in the industry, a lot of people don't fully understand everything that a company does. So you want to actually learn as much as you can about the company in advance. You want to look at their website, review the entire website, print out components of things that are important, circle things that you find important on their website, look at product literature, look at case studies on the web. You want to look at any press releases or news articles that are put out, and really what you're looking for are issues and problems that you can reference in the interview process, and then connect, like through things like positioning statements, how you can solve an employer's problem, how you can become a solution to their problem. And the whole concept of understanding the company is that it helps you to game out your answers and your skills and how you can solve an employer's problem and why you're the best candidate for a specific job. It also demonstrates that you took time to understand the complete range of what a company does and where they fit in the market and what they're trying to do. And you'll get bonus points from interviewers and potential employers by demonstrating that you took that time. The next thing is you want to demonstrate that you have a grasp of what competitors are doing against the company you're interviewing for. Managers are constantly thinking about competition, and you need to as well. So sprinkle in key points and issues that you found during the research process of what competitors are doing, and then you can potentially try and connect back your skill set through things like positioning statements and other information why you're the perfect candidate. What this does is it shows that you have vision of the marketplace, and ultimately it helps you establish why you're overwhelmingly qualified to be the person to take this job. The last thing, this is probably the most important takeaway out of this whole video series, is rehearsing your questions and answers. And most people don't do this, and it's a huge mistake, because the reality is a job interview is a sales process, and you're selling yourself, and your performance matters. So you want to be able to have anticipated possible questions, know the answers, especially how your skill set can solve an employer's problem, and then use things like positioning statements to articulate how you can become that solution. And the real key here is to rehearse out loud as much as possible so those answers are crisp and succinct and solve the employer's problem. So on to the next video, and thanks.